I planned on going live at 7 p.m. sharp, but when you have kids, sometimes you're not exactly on time. So a little bit late. Real life happens, but it's all good. Hopefully, you guys watched my videos that I put out earlier because those videos really got me to thinking. Those were some scenarios with the ACC that I hadn't thought of. So hopefully, you guys watched that, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about who I think is going to have the best year out of the new teams in the Big 12. The scheduling is very lopsided. I don't think anything was done on purpose as far as, let's see, playing favorites or anything like that. But you can tell that this was not well thought out. If you look at, okay, we'll go with easiest and hardest real quick, okay? Easiest schedule, Baylor by far. Toughest schedule, Texas Tech by far. That shouldn't happen, but it did. Anyways, welcome to Going Unbluted, everybody. This is a college football YouTube channel. Sometimes we sprinkle in some NFL, but the Bengals got knocked out of the playoffs, so no, I'm not sprinkling in any more NFL. My team is out. I don't want to talk about the NFL anymore, okay? It's not happening. And then some college basketball, which West Virginia did lose on the road to TCU, but at least they were competitive. I think West Virginia does make the big dance. So whenever the big dance comes around, we will talk about it. Even if somehow West Virginia doesn't make the big dance. So we'll still talk about it. I'm not going to be biased when it comes to the big dance. Oh, West Virginia didn't make it, so I don't want to talk about it. NFL, that's a different story. I don't talk about it much anyways. Shout out to Joey, by the way. He had a little bit of a rough day, but he came through it. He's good to go. He's back on the saddle, helping us out over here Going Unbluted, and we're just glad he's okay. And he had a decent day. I was not gonna lie, Joey. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to worry you, but I was a little bit worried, not like stressed out worried, but just thinking about you worried. So I'm glad you're good to go, and you're back in the saddle for Going Unbluted. Make sure to hit the like button, everybody. This is what really, really helps these live shows. Even if you're watching the replay, you weren't able to watch this live show live. You're watching the replay. Hit the like button. All those likes tells YouTube, hey, people are liking this video. Suggest it more to more people, and that's how we grow the views on the video. So I would greatly, greatly appreciate it if you hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed to Going Unbluted, if you love college football, if you're obsessed with it, if you live it, breathe it, hit the subscribe button because that's what we do every day. We do not miss a day. I'll take that back. I did miss one day. I don't know. I can't remember how far back it was. It was because I had the stomach bug. But even when I had COVID, it was when we came back from Disney, we contracted COVID at Disney, came back with it. But even when I had COVID, I still did a video every day. The problem was I had to do a take for 10 minutes and then take an hour nap and then try to remember and make sure I talked about the same thing. So one video took like 4 hours because it was like 10 minutes, hour nap, 10 minutes, hour nap. But I didn't miss a day with COVID. However, with the stomach bug, I literally could not get out of the bed without being nauseous. And I didn't want to be laying sideways doing a video. So that's the only time that I missed a day. We are obsessed with college football around here. Anyways, enough about me. By the way, if you have a comment, question, or a troll attempt, want to make fun of me, remember, I have thick skin as part of the checklist. Hit the super chat button, and it's a great way to support the channel. If you don't know what the super chat button is, it's that little dollar sign that you see on the bottom right-hand corner underneath the comment section. Anything that you put in that super chat will go on the screen to be read, and you will be shouted out just like, right on cue, Larry Pilgrim. Thank you for the $12. $12. I've never seen $12. People forget that you can customize those super chats. I've never seen a $12 super chat. That is a first, and we do appreciate your support, Larry Pilgrim. He says, Washington and Oregon are intentionally trying to get the Utes, Cats, Devils, and Buffs to leave and go elsewhere. That is believable. It is very believable. It actually kind of fits into what I've been saying. I think they're asking for I'm not saying that's exactly what's happening, but I'm saying what you said is believable. It is. Which, by the way, side note, it's looking like that the Big 12 is closing in on grabbing Gonzaga. That's another big blow for the Pac-12. Why the Pac-12 didn't try to go out and get Gonzaga is beyond me. Listen, I understand that conference realignment is based on football. I understand that. But it doesn't hurt to try to help your basketball. And Gonzaga is in the state of Washington. What are you thinking, Pac-12? What are you trying to dissolve? Are you trying to not exist? Because you're making every decision or non-decision possible to go down the tubes. It's almost like they're doing this on purpose. And that goes back to Larry Pilgrim's super chat saying that Washington, Oregon are doing some stuff to intentionally try to get these teams to leave. That wouldn't surprise me. If I had to take a guess, I don't think that's happening, but it wouldn't surprise me. It really would not surprise me. Think about this. If they did get, okay, let's say that they get their TV deal locked in, which, by the way, rumor has it their TV deal is bad, worse than what we realized. Yes, DJ, Gonzaga doesn't move the needle for football. I was talking about for the basketball side. Listen, they're not going to get any of the football revenue, so that's a completely separate thing. You're not bringing in Gonzaga and having to split your TV deal, your football TV deal with Gonzaga. No, they get none of that. They get none of that. They don't get any of that money, but they do help your basketball brand, and they not only do they move the needle, they crush the needle when it comes to basketball. And the Pac-12, as many, I don't want to word this the wrong way. That could have been bad. I almost said something that could have been worded bad. That they help with the basketball side of things. I'm going to put it to you that way. Gonzaga would have greatly helped the Pac-12. That's another big whiff on the side of the Pac-12. So yeah, the Pac-12 is on life support, and I talked about in one of my videos how there's a state legislation bill in the state of Washington trying to forever connect Washington and Washington State, kind of like how Cal and Stanford are. That bill, if that passes, like I mentioned in my video, that would be very, very detrimental to Oregon. If you're an Oregon fan, you better hope that bill does not get passed, because if that bill gets passed, nobody's going to take Oregon and Oregon State. It's just not going to happen, and that would literally be your only option. You can't go Oregon and Washington, or even Oregon, Washington State, or even Oregon and Stanford, because Stanford and Cal are connected at the hip. If that goes through, oh man, it's not good for Oregon. They would be, unless somebody would just take Oregon and nobody else, which I guess that's possible. It would just be a big blow. John Waffle HCP, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Says there is no revenue in basketball. Well, there is, but it's nothing compared to football. But the Gonzaga move is just to make your conference as a whole attractive, because remember, whenever you're trying to attract a member, yes, football is the main thing, but they're also going to look at your basketball brand. So it's about making your conference look as appealing as possible. If the Pac-12 would have brought in Gonzaga, they would have immediately been one of the best basketball conferences in the nation. Right now, they're not bad. Last year, the Pac-12 had a great basketball season, big bounce back year, had some great teams in there. Not in the big dance. They didn't do well in the big dance, but I'm talking about in the regular season, ranked in the AP top 25 consistently. They had a good season in basketball. If they would have brought in Gonzaga, they could have been arguably the best conference in college basketball, comparable to the Big 12. Once again, Pac-12 whips, and the Big 12 is trying to snag Gonzaga. I don't know what the Pac-12 is thinking. They're doing nothing. They're not doing anything. They're not making any moves. Oh, we're trying to lock in the TV deal before we do anything. Here's the thing about the TV deal, Pac-12. If you went out and make some moves, it would actually help your TV deal. Like it would help with your negotiations. I'm hearing that ESPN is not only lowballing the Pac-12, but low-balling the Pac-12. I'm hearing this deal could be worth around $25 million a team. Yikes. Yikes. That's all I have to say about that. Yikes. That's even worse than what I thought. I thought the deal was going to be between 30, 35, 25. And you better believe they're going to give unequal revenue share to Oregon and Washington. And then the 3/4 to 4 corner schools will be like, screw this. We're out. You know what? Oregon and Washington might be okay with that because that's a bigger cut for them. Go out and get a couple of Mountain West teams. At least keep us at 8 so we don't have to disband. But that's more money for us. And then what's the end game, I guess, is the biggest question. What is the end game? I mean, the Pac-12 can exist for so long. And the next TV negotiation, if it's just those 6 core teams, Oregon, Washington, Oregon State, Washington State, Cal, and Stanford, and then 2 Mountain West teams, you might make, what, $20 million a team? Even with unequal revenue share, still not good. Still not good. Joey said something. I'm forgetting about something. GBD, you're forgetting something very important. The Big Ten is getting a new commissioner, yes, and therefore they will most likely go after Oregon and Washington. That means the 4 corners come to the Big 12. I'm hearing that Kevin Warren actually wanted Oregon and Washington. So I don't know if a new commissioner equals Oregon and Washington coming into the Big Ten. I'm hearing that the Big Ten doors are closed for realignment right now. And the biggest catalyst for that was Ohio State. Ohio State says, no, we're good at 16. We're not going to expand until the SEC expands. DJ, thank you for the $4.99 donation. Says, Pac-12 should look into adding North Dakota, who is the powerhouse of the FCS, and beat top 25 FBS schools every year. That's true. Then add San Diego State and Boise State. You know what? That's an interesting take there. I don't know if they should do the. I do agree with Boise State, San Diego State, and Fresno State. Those 3 they need to get, especially losing 2 California brands in USC and UCLA. And no, I am not suggesting that San Diego State and Fresno State would make up the losses of USC and UCLA. Not at all. It would not make up for that loss, but it would help. It would help fill that void. And then Boise State is, of course, one of the best brands in the Mountain West. See, here's the problem with the Pac-12 right now. If they're going after a group of 5 teams, it's basically the Mountain West because there are no group of 5 teams on the east side of the Mississippi that would be worth adding into to make up for all the headaches that come with adding a team on the east side of the Mississippi. So they're kind of painted into this corner of having to choose Mountain West brands, and they've done this to themselves. I used to complain about the Big 12 being reactive and not proactive. The Pac-12, after they added Colorado and Utah, they were praised. That was a great move, and I agreed. But since then, not only have they not been proactive, they haven't even been reactive. They are inactive. The Pac-12 is inactive. They don't do anything. Something happens to them. We got less members. Oh, well, more for the big brands, I guess. My gosh. It's bad enough to not be proactive and be reactive like the Big 12 was, which I think that's changed under Brett Yormark. But the Pac-12, they take it a step further. They are inactive. That is insane. What are you thinking? Are you tapping out? Oh, we're done. That $50 million overpayment, we got to pay that back too. I wonder if USC and UCLA will have to pay that back, or if they can get out in time to where they don't have to pay it back. I don't know the ins and outs of that. This is madness. The Pac-12 is freaking madness, guys. Dang. Larry Pilgrim with another $12 donation. Appreciate that, buddy. Says, remember the Big Ten didn't want a lawsuit by taking Washington and Oregon. That's actually true, an antitrust lawsuit. That's actually true, yes. Why they are tanking any media deal. That wasn't a question. Why they are taking any media deal. That was a statement. There you go. Originally, a 12-year strong gore was 350 million. I didn't know that either. Man, are those teams going to sign a 12-year grant of rights with the Pac-12? Okay, so if they were going to do that, why would they tank the media deal? Now I'm a little bit confused. Jeez. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait just a minute. That's how the Big Ten avoids a lawsuit. I got you. That's a video right there. Holy crap. Holy crap. And yes, I will credit you. I will credit you on that. So let me write this down first before I explain it. Let's see. Why am I stretching out? I can just bring it over here. What am I thinking? I'm going to explain this to you after I write this out because I have to. That was great. That was a comment of the day right there. Let's see. Avoid antitrust lawsuit. Then the Pac-12 dissolves. That might be the answer, buddy. That might be the answer. So we might be just seeing semantics because he's right. Had the Big Ten added Washington and Oregon, that would have been an antitrust lawsuit because the Pac-12 is still a Power 5 conference, and they have to have one member remaining that has what is it, a national championship appearance or a national championship, something like that. Which I know people will push back. What about the Big 12? TCU has a national championship in football. It was a long time ago, but they do. But anyways, what's going on, Ballard Sports Media? But anyways, so I don't know the particulars of that or the details of what would entail that lawsuit, but it is very possible. That was a great comment. Comment of the day, man. And I'm going to make that, what was that, Larry Pilgrim? I'm going to shut you out on that too, man. Welcome to the Get It Gang, by the way. That's a video of that. It's a great one. So basically what he was saying is, if the Big Ten tried to add Washington and Oregon right now, there would have been an antitrust lawsuit, a big one, massive, crippling, right, on the Big Ten, and they don't want that. So what could be happening is Washington and Oregon are trying to tank the media deal, get it as low as possible, try to get the 3/4 of the four corner schools discouraged, and they want them to go to the Big 12, right? And then the Pac-12 is down to 6 members, and they would probably do something to keep the Pac-12 from adding Mountain West. And if the Pac-12 gets down to 6 members and they don't add any more, they must disband. That might be the end game of Oregon and Washington, and or for Oregon and Washington for the Pac-12 is what I meant. And if the Pac-12 disbands, then the Big Ten can add them without a lawsuit. Awesome comment, Larry. I forgot about that. That is a great comment. John Teal, thank you for the $5 donation. Says San Diego State, Fresno State, Boise State, UTSA, Rice, SMU. We get back some of California. We add another Mountain West time slot, and we get to Texas, 16 teams. That's not a bad plan, but remember what I just said and what Larry Pilgrim brought up. This could be semantics by Oregon and Washington trying to get ESPN to lowball, because what I'm hearing is that the new TV deal could be $25 million per team. And I know Washington and Oregon probably get unequal revenue share, but it will be so low that those 4 schools, Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado, are like, this is too low. We will most certainly make more money over to the Big 12. Bye-bye. We're gone. Pac-12 shrinks down to 6 members. Oregon and Washington stand in the way of the Pac-12 getting more members, and the Pac-12 dissolves, and then Oregon and Washington can go to the Big Ten without a lawsuit. Amazing. That was an amazing comment. But I do like what you said. If the Pac-12 did that, that would be smart. You're getting back some of California, and you're getting your foot into Texas. That would be smart by the Pac-12. The question is, will they do that? Because right now they're making a bunch of bad moves, which makes Larry Pilgrim's comment makes sense, because I was saying it out loud. It's almost like they're doing it on purpose. And the only reason anybody would do anything on purpose is if the Big Ten does want Washington, Oregon, but knew they would have a lawsuit on their hands unless the Pac-12 dissolves. I'm telling you, it makes sense, and it will be a video. DJ, thank you for the $4.99 donation. Says Big Ten might go back looking at adding the Buffs, due to their large TV viewership. Yeah, not only their large TV viewership, but daggum adding or hiring Deion Sanders. I think it's the Big 12 though, because it goes back to what Larry Pilgrim said. Okay, think about this, guys. I know I already said this, but let's slow this down a little bit, all right? We know that Oregon and Washington put their applications into the Big Ten, right? That happened. The Big Ten said no. And the reason was Ohio State is saying that we're good at 16. We're not going to make another move until the SEC does, right? That's what was said, which is believable. But the bottom line is, had the Big Ten added them right there or invited them, lawsuit, big one. The only way to avoid that lawsuit is for that conference to not exist. Because if a conference doesn't exist, they can't sue you, no antitrust. So I think it will be Oregon and Washington, and it's a part of this whole thing, tanking the media deal, Pac-12 going down the drain, dissolving, boom, they're in the Big Ten, no lawsuit. I'm telling you. DJ, thank you for the $4.99 donation. Says, hell, adding the Buffs with Coach Prime would make Big Ten TV ratings go crazy. More money for Big Ten. Yes, and maybe they could add them with a package, but I don't think that the Big Ten would choose Colorado over Oregon and Washington. Maybe it's a massive move all at once. Let's say they want Oregon, Washington, Colorado, and Utah, which to me, that would make a lot of sense. I would like that. But I don't think that's the direction we're headed in. I think the Big 12 wants Colorado for all the reasons you just said. Remember, Colorado was in the Big 12, so they're familiar with it. And I know they trash talked Big 12 and said, we don't want to go back and blah, blah, blah. I understand that, but things change. When you're making chunk change, you'll go back to a conference that you claimed you didn't like. I mean, making $20 million more a year, yeah, you will definitely take the trip back. But I get what you're saying. Coach Prime, don't you hate it whenever your mouth gets ahead of your thoughts and you start, that's what happened to me. Coach Prime definitely bumped up the value of Colorado. There is no mistake about that. 100% agree with that. I'm just not sure if it's a Big 10 move. I think it's a Big 12 move. I like how you're thinking. I agree with you. I just disagree with the conference. I think it's Big 12, not Big 10. John Teal, thank you for the $2 donation. Says, but if USC and the Big 10 have a deal of no Oregon, I've talked about that, but after talking to some people, it would have to be a verbal agreement, because if you put that in a contract, that is an antitrust lawsuit. What we're talking about is the possibility, not that it actually happened, but the possibility, and you never know, the possibility of USC and UCLA saying, hey, whenever they got the invite from the Big Ten, hey, we will accept your invite if you agree to never, ever, ever, ever add Oregon or Washington. Is that possible? Yes. That is one side of the same coin. Very, very possible. It can't be in a contract, though, okay? Maybe a verbal understanding or a head nod, whatever, nothing you can prove. That's fine. If it's something that nobody can prove, then yeah, whatever. It's an agreement. It's an agreement. It's understood. Can't be in a contract. That's a lawsuit right there. A big one, too. And then the other side of the coin was they didn't add them because of the other antitrust lawsuit, and therefore Oregon and Washington are trying to get the Pac-12 to go under. That way they can join the Big Ten, and there's no lawsuit. There you go. Yvette Stowers Foster, awesome. Appreciate the $5 donation. My first ever super chat. There you go. I've got to give that a round of applause. I've never been somebody's first super chat. I feel special. You're doing a great job. I'm trying to do a great job. I don't know if I'm actually doing a great job, but I'm trying. I'm giving it my best. So it has to be one or the other, because what we're seeing with Pac-12 just doesn't make sense. That's why I kind of went crazy when I saw Larry Pilgrim's comment, because it explains it. I'm telling you, that explains it. It really does. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. So I would tend to agree with that, Larry, and I'm going to do a video on it for sure. And I expect to see a lot of aha comments, like, man, I didn't see that, and it makes sense. And there has to be an explanation out there, because I see you, Alan Aaron. Notre Dame. There has to be something. I just have this feeling. I don't have any proof. I don't have any sources or anything like that. I just have this feeling that eventually Notre Dame will end up in the Big Ten, and that they're using the ACC, but I can't quite put my finger on it. I can't quite put it all together. So I'm going to try to dwell on that and come up with a video idea for that. There has to be something there. There has to be something that, even though it's not a super chat, I will address what Jacob said. Does Boise have a chance for the Big 12? That's a loaded question, because chance would mean, even a 0.001%. So answering it that way, yes. Legitimately, I would say no. Here's why. Not because Boise State is not a good brand, because they are really good brand. One of the best Group of 5 brands out there. Okay, it's because this new TV deal by the Big 12 does not guarantee any revenue bump if they add any more Group of 5 teams. So even though Boise State is a great brand, I would say they should add Boise State. But the caveat is, if they add Boise State, that's not going to raise their revenue. It's in the contract. If you add any more current Group of 5 teams, you're not guaranteed to raise the revenue. A different story for Power 5s. So I had Boise State at the top of the list, but because of that clause, they kind of fall down. And that's why we see the Big 12 trying to get Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and Arizona State. I do think that there's a chance because of how things are going, okay? Eventually, I think there will be 3 conferences standing. And I think it's going to be that third conference is going to come down to the ACC and the Big 12. Pac-12 is going to be done. Done, all right? Which, by the way, let me hit Joey's real quick. New member, Joey. Appreciate you, buddy. Did that pop on the screen? Because I hit it. If it didn't, let me go back and hit that. And then we'll go back to the other super chat. I thought it came on the screen, but maybe it didn't. All right, there we go. Anyways, so there's going to be 3 conferences remaining whenever the dust settles, in my opinion. And it's going to come down to the ACC and the Big 12. I think it'll be the Big 12. I think the Big 12 will be able to get some teams out of the Pac-12 and some teams out of the ACC. Now, when we get to that stage, will Boise State have their facilities up to where these mega conferences want them? Because Boise State did reveal a lot of renovations, but I think they need to, in its overall sports facilities. And I give that a round of applause. That is exactly what you needed to do. But after that's completed, you need to pour in some more money into your football stadium and be ready. This is why Boise State has gotten skipped. They kind of waited too long to invest into their sports facilities. Now they're doing that. That's fine. But you need to go another step for whenever teams might look at you again. You don't want to be caught slacking again. It already happened once. It could happen again. So get ahead of it. Get ahead of it and show them, hey, we're serious about this. Get that football stadium up to 50,000. That's still not, a massive stadium, but it grabs your attention. It's bigger than Houston Stadium. is bigger than Cincinnati's. It would be bigger than UCF's. So if you could hit that 50,000 capacity mark, and I think Boise State could fill that consistently. I really do. They pack out Robertson. I think that's the name of the stadium, Robertson, consistently. And I think the fan base is big enough to fill a 50,000 seat stadium, and it would show everybody, hey, we're serious. So I think there's some things that Boise State needs to do. I think they're worth it now, but just because of how everything happened, probably not. Maybe in the next 5 to 10 years. John Teo, thank you for your $2 donation. Says Oregon and Washington can go. Colorado has a natty. That's right, but they were in the Big 12 when they had the natty. But TCU wasn't in the Big 12 when they had. Now you're right about that, actually. Oregon and what? Somebody cleared the legality of that, because if that's true, then TCU wouldn't be able to count for the Big 12 because they didn't win their national championship when they were in the Big 12. That was a long, long, long time ago. Interesting point. Interesting point. Might blow that whole argument. So if that's true, then, which it's true, Colorado won a national championship in 1990 or 91. No, I think it was 90. But if that's what connects this lawsuit, then that would blow up that whole argument, and it would make everything not make sense again. Hillbilly Skeptic, thank you for the $5 donation. Says, you starting a trend of realignment speculation videos for other creators, it's a good sign when others start copying you. Yes, they say that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, so it's pretty cool. And I didn't set out to do that when I started these realignment videos. It was just something that I was super, super interested in. And we had two boom periods. We're doing pretty good now, but doing good and going through a boom period is two separate things. We had 2 boom periods, and both of those boom periods happened. The first one was whenever Oklahoma and Texas told everybody, hey, we're going to the SEC. I went from, what was it, 1,500 subscribers at the time to like 3,000. It was a nice jump in 2 months. Then this past year, we went through another boom whenever USC and UCLA announced that they were going to the Pac-12, and we went from, I want to say 4,000 or 5,000 all the way up to like 8,000 or 9,000 within a month. It was crazy. So, but some of that is also, it isn't just conference realignment. It's just what was hot. You have to look at your success of your YouTube channel when you're a college football YouTube creator. Now, other YouTube channels is a different story. You have to compare month to month. I can't compare how we're doing right now to how we were doing back in July, because college football fans are more interested in July. Ergo, you're going to have more views, more money, more success, all that stuff. I have to compare how I'm doing right now to how I was doing last February. And when I went, or January, because January just, was over. And whenever I went back and compared January to January, I was like, holy crap. Sometimes you don't realize how far you've come. It's kind of like you've gotten used to the journey. And even though you've gotten bigger and bigger, you don't realize how big you've got until you really compare. Or like, this is how we're doing now. This is how we're doing this time last year. And it's like mind-blowing. I'm serious. The numbers that I saw were absolutely mind-blowing. I guess I've just gotten used to these numbers and forgot what it was like last year. Andre King, thank you for the $5 donation, buddy. Larry Pilgrim, thank you for the $10 donation. Says, legislatures know in Washington what is going down. Why do you think they are trying to get ahead of it? Good point. Trying to connect Washington State. 8 of 12 teams would be gone. Majority to 2 different conferences. No lawsuit. Absolutely. See, the lawsuit is the majority. You're getting majority, and if you do that, then you have to leave a team with a national championship. I believe that's how it is. I'm going to have to look it up and get the actual details to get this story straight, because I'm definitely doing a video on it, and I don't want to get any facts wrong, because, of course, I would get roasted. Anytime I get anything small wrong that I didn't see or know or overlooked or whatever, boom, the hammer goes down. So I'm definitely going to have to look that up. So, yes, bottom line is, if the ACC dissolves, then this guaranteed no lawsuit, because the conference doesn't exist anymore. So that's a great point. And it does seem like there is some type of, I know this word gets used or overused, conspiracy, but it's really the only word I can think of, because otherwise it's just like, okay, either this is happening, or the Pac-12 is just that stupid. I mean, when I say that stupid, I'm saying incomprehensibly stupid. Like, you can't comprehend how stupid they are, because they're not being proactive. They're not even being reactive. They're being inactive, and it just doesn't make sense. So I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't think the lawsuit would happen if the Pac-12 dissolves, because they wouldn't exist. They wouldn't exist to even do the lawsuit. They would be dissolved, and then there's nothing you can do about that. Especially if you do it in the order that I explained, as in Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and Arizona State. The Pac-12 gets down to 6 members. They decide, no, we don't want to add any Mountain West teams, and they dissolve. If it goes that route. Now, if it goes a different route and the ACC dissolves, yes, there could still be a lawsuit. But if it goes that route, I don't think there could be a lawsuit. Michael, is it Perigo or Perigo? Michael Perigo. That, if I'm wrong, correct me in the comment section. My pronunciation, it's not very good tonight. But I appreciate your $10 donation. First super chat, awesome. We have another first. That's awesome. Really appreciate your knowledge and analysis. FYI, Purdue fan living in Kansas. Purdue fan living in Kansas. That's a first for me. My question is, how is realignment impacting FCS, D2, D3, and NAIA football programs? You know, I haven't gone that far down the pecking order, but what we do know is that realignment has affected FCS, because Conference USA this goes back to, if you go down to 6 members, you either add members or dissolve. And I don't know the number off the top of my head, but Conference USA got down to like 5, I think. I think their number was 5. So they had to, the choice was go find some members, or Conference USA had to dissolve. So what they did is they went out, they got a couple of FBS teams in Liberty and New Mexico State. So it might have been at 4. That got them to 6. And then they went out and got Jacksonville State, who's FCS, Sam Houston State, FCS, and Kennesaw State. I know they're only basketball, but still part of the conference. So it has directly affected FCS. As far as down the list, well, we could be seeing a ripple effect. In other words, you know, there's always going to be a hole until you get down to the lowest level. Then the lowest level can't do anything because they don't have anybody to bring up to their level. So it could ripple down to where, you know, okay, now there's a hole in the FCS. They go down to D2 and they pull up. D2 has a hole. They go down to D3, and so on and so forth, until you get to the bottom of the well and they can't pull up. So I don't know if that ripple effect has actually happened yet, but it could. It could. It just depends on how far it goes. I don't know if the FCS conferences that had Jacksonville State, Sam Houston State, and Kennesaw State, I don't know if they've replaced those schools by going to a different FCS conference and getting from them, or bringing up from underneath. So that's a good question. I need to look into that. Joey Foster says Pac-12 can't dissolve. They are A5 anonymous or autonomous 5, excuse me. They can't just add teams and still exist as a P5 conference. You can't dissolve them without a vote. That will never come. Well, from what I understand, you also lose your Power 5 status if you're down to half your members whenever you sign your TV deal. So if those numbers matched up, so maybe it's not exactly 6, but if the numbers matched up, they can dissolve just because of the bylaws. But I understand what you're saying. The Power 5 thing protects them if they get down to 6. But let's say they sign their new TV deal with 10, if they get down to 5, then that could take an effect. But here's the thing. If they don't even get to their new TV deal and teams leave and it gets down to 6, that's when they dissolve. Maybe I worded that incorrectly. If the Pac-12 got down to 6 before they signed their new TV deal, then they could dissolve without any lawsuits, because the A5 rule only protects them down to half the league. If it gets down to half their membership, the number of members when they signed their previous TV deal, which would have been at 12, if it gets down to 6, then they would either have to add members or disband. Now, if they sign their new TV deal with 10 members, then the number turns to 5. It's whatever. It's half of the number that's signed. So it just depends on. What am I trying to say? It just depends on how many members they have when they sign this new TV deal, as far as what number it would be, because it would be a different number if they sign with so if USC and UCLA were still a part of the Pac-12 whenever they signed this new TV deal, then the number would still be 6, because they're signing with 12 members. But since they're going to be gone, the number will be 5, because they're going to be signing with 10 members. It's half of the number that signed the new TV deal. So timing would have to play a part of that. Tide guy, I'm going to have to relook that up then, because I have looked that one up. I don't know how the Pac-12 would be different than the NCAA bylaws. I'm just going by what I looked up, and that's what it said. To lose Power 5 status, you have to get down to half your members that signed the new TV deal, and that's when you can get your A5 taken away. And then once the A5 is taken away, you lose that protection. And I'm talking about original members. So even if the Pac-12 added to get the numbers back up, that doesn't matter. You're still at the number as far as the members that signed the TV deal. So even adding Mountain West teams wouldn't protect them from that. So let's say they sign with 10 and their conference gets down to 5. It wouldn't matter if they added Mountain West, because it would still they would only have 5 of the members that signed the deal. So it's just how the numbers line up. But maybe the Pac-12 does have an exception. If that's the case, that wouldn't make any sense, though. Down to 3 members and they can remain a conference? What? How is that a conference? How would that be protected under the A5 thing? That number is crazy. I'm not saying you're wrong, Ty Guy, and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if it's true, that's wow. That would be very surprising. I guess to me it wouldn't make sense. So I'm going to look that up and see, because now you piqued my interest. Maybe the Pac-12 is something different. I don't know. I just thought in general the NCAA bylaw was, if you get down to half the membership that's signed, so adding members past that doesn't matter. If you get down to half the members that signed, then your protection of the A5 is taken away. And then at that point, if you don't add more members, you have to disband. So it's all about timing. If you get down to the number and then they take off the Power 5 because you don't have that, then you have to add more or you disband. It's like that. And I'm not sure how the antitrust would be affected or initiated once the protection is taken off. I don't know if it still can happen once the A5 protection is taken off. That's a lot of legalities that I would have to look into. But it's an interesting topic, definitely worth looking into. So, yeah. Joey says, what I'm saying is the TV deal has nothing to do with Power 5 status. That is correct. They cannot lose Power 5 status unless it is voted on. And no. That's incorrect, Joey. I'm sorry. That is incorrect. From what I saw, and I did look this up, from what I saw, the number of teams, because numbers fluctuate, all right? When you signed this TV deal, you were at 12. The new one you lost to, you're going to be signing at 10. So yes, it does matter how many members sign this new TV deal. That's what they go by. That is the standard. That is the number they look at. So if 10 sign this new TV deal and they get down to 5, that's when the A5 protection gets taken off. And then if they don't add new members, they can dissolve. I looked this up thoroughly, and I'm very, very confident that that's how that's interpreted. If not, then I have some digging to do and really try to get this figured out, because this is the legality part of this is very nitpicky and particular. Maybe the Pac-12 has a little different stipulations or rules compared to the rules that I saw, but from what I understood it's based on the number of teams whenever they signed the new TV deal, because USC and UCLA won't be a part of the Pac-12 whenever they sign their new TV deal. So how can they be counted? They can't be counted. They won't be part of the Pac-12. They go by numbers, and it's the number that signs the TV deal. So we'll have to look into that, because a lot of people are saying a lot of different things. This should be fun. Hey, this is what it's all about. It's fun. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about trying to figure out what the truth is, because this is a lot. See, that's what I'm talking about, Joe. He said we really need to dig into this a little more, especially if moves start happening. We could all be wrong. Exactly. All of us could be wrong. Who knows? Or all of us could be a little right, and you put it all together, and that's, the actual answer. Who knows? This is crazy, guys. But I'm sure the conference commissioners know the rules, or have lawyers that know the rules, and they know exactly what to do and what not to do. My gosh, this is crazy, guys. Anyways, I got to jump off here, guys. My battery is running out, but I wanted to do a video while I still had battery, and it was charged enough. We almost got to an hour. Almost. You know what? I can't wait to get my laptop back, because I don't like doing this, having to rely on, hopefully my phone will be charged by the time I want to do a live show, and hopefully it's charged enough to where I can do an hour. I don't like it. I want to be consistent, and I want to not have to worry about my phone being charged, because on top of everything else, the stinking charging port for my phone went out, so I'm having to charge it wirelessly, and it's just, my gosh, it's annoying. People, listen to what I'm saying. Do not take for granted whenever you plug in the phone in the car. The next time you do that, look at it and be thankful, because I'm telling you, if that charging port goes out and you have to charge it wirelessly, it is a pain to charge your phone in the car. Almost impossible. And honestly, that's what kills my battery the most, because I'm driving a lot during the day with work drop off, work pickup, school drop off, school pickup, just a lot of driving around. So I'm in the car a lot. That's why you see car videos sometimes, because that's when I have to do it. And so that's really what zaps my battery, because the phone just won't stay on the wireless thing, and it's drives you nuts. So really can't wait for the laptop. That doesn't matter though, because whenever tax season, whenever I get my taxes back, I am buying a new laptop. That is, I'm doing it, guys. I have to. That needs to be upgraded anyways. Enough rambling. Had a great time, guys. I don't know about you. I had a great time. On the way out, don't forget to hit the like button. If you're watching a replay of this, please hit the like button. That's what helps get more views. It tells YouTube, hey, people are interested. Get this thing suggested more. So we greatly appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys. Shout out to everybody that contributed to the conversation, everybody hit the like button, everybody that's watching, everybody that supported us through Super Chat. I'm telling you, we rely on those even more in the off season, because people do get disinterested in college football. So all those donations, I'm telling you, we are super, super thankful for that, guys, and we greatly appreciate it. And don't forget, go check out our Patreon page. We have our biggest contest of the year coming up, and that's our bracket challenge. Now, in the regular season of college football, we have the score prediction contest. Somebody wins $20 every single week. Then at the end of that year, we did the championship prediction for all the championships of college football. And by the way, Robert Gurney, I need you to email me your address again, because I have your money. And I need your address to send it to because of no PayPal and Cash App. I will keep it for as long as I need to, but I would really like that address again so I can send that out. So the winner of championship week, $25, and then the winner of bowl prediction had $50. So for March Madness, it's going to be at least $50. I'm thinking 75. But I need more participation to make it worth it. Listen, I want first place to be as high as possible. So tell a friend, tell a family member. If you're not a member of Patreon, you can join for as low as $2 a month. $2 a month. Now, there is an option for $1 a month, but that's not participation in the contest. That has to be $2. So $2 and boom, you can participate. That's how easy it is. And once I get my laptop back, we'll do a bunch more shows over on Patreon. I have to admit, we have been dropping the ball because of that. Joey's been sick. My laptop's been out, so I promise that will get back going. But for the contest, you have to at least be a $2 Patreon to participate in the contest. So go check that out. And the merchandise store is coming. And we already have 2 things locked down as far as our taglines. The checklist is going to be on there. Remember, hat, sunglasses, notes, sources, all that stuff. With the checklist, that's going to be on the shirt. And then the Get It Gang shirt, the name that I came up with, the gang, the name that I came up for the group of people that come up with video ideas. I wanted to come up with a catchy name for the group. I think Get It Gang gets it done. So we'll have Get It Gang merch in the merchandise store. And prices are going to be much, much lower because we cut out the middleman. So the prices will be manageable. And we're going to have a lot of great stuff and a lot of great variety over there. Anyways, that's it for me. Before my phone dies, I don't want to cut out in mid-sentence. So I hope you have a good rest of your Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. And then the weekend, it's all good. Another weekend in the books headed towards the 2023 college football season. That's how I look at it. We got through another week, and we'll have another week behind us, another weekend, and we're just going to be marching towards the college football season. Great show, everybody. Not because of me, but because of you. I really appreciate it. Y'all have a good rest of your Thursday, and Go to Blue Dude is now out.